Hello game fans, it's Brian here and welcome to New Speed, and not today a live stream. Yeah, I'm afraid we having some issues with my internet provider and how they love to throttle your connection, and so I've resorted to having to do my videos offline and upload them afterwards. So once again I apologise for no live streaming at present moment. I hope to get the situation resolved, but that's the thing here in the UK. We have the situation where a lot of our providers actually do throttle our connection. I don't know if you have it in the rest of your world where you are, but here in the UK it is a common practice. Now some internet providers are sort of going away from it, but you do have to pay for the nose. So maybe I will get this sorted out in the next few weeks or days. I hope, well, hopefully days. It won't be weeks because, as you know, streaming is an important part of what I do here on Touch Gameplay, and without the streaming, I feel it does kind of make these videos I do kind of more forced, because I have no kind of feedback or bounce off you guys when you're listening to, when you're watching my videos and you're commenting. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to try and go over a tip that I've got for you on HotWheels, especially when it comes, I'm going to go over a tip that I've got from doing these kind of special events. And as you see here, we actually got roughly 21 hours to go before the event finishes, because we're now actually in day 7 of the special Hot Wheels event where you can win the taxi. You can see once again day 7 is open, and so we're still on day 6, because once again day 6 and 7 tend to be the longest ones, where you got to really knuckle down and get the, well, beat the events and get over the PR requirements. And so today I've got 5 tokens left at the present moment, out of 6 that I can have, and hopefully I can at some point get over the PR requirement of 566. My car at present moment is only 440, so I've got to do some farming for parts. Now there's 2 ways you can do that, of course. You can do it by basically hopefully getting the required items from here by spending gold or money. For example, the prototype valve there, 4,000, that will get me that's needed, or the prototype intake or the prototype clutch, where both of them two will cost me gold. Now if you're somebody like, if you're somebody who's not fortunate like myself, who's managed to buy gold from buying the occasional buying the events that will do pop up from time to time, it is difficult, especially how do you basically complete the defense without spending gold. Now the only thing I can give you really is, if you manage to log in every single day, then in theory you should able to do the event without spending the gold, in theory, but you need to be logging in every single day and every single hour or so, at least an hour to get your tickets. The thing is, when you are logging in, and the game will at some point help you recommend on what PR to get increased, or what to farm. For example here, we can redo this event, and we can either go for, and we can win here the a tank, or I believe that's an intake. No, it's an intake. It's a CPU, I think, CPU sensor for your engine. Now, so these are 2 things that you can possibly win. Okay. Now, what I will say is, before you try and win that part to increase on your car, do look on the car in question. For example, here we go. Now we see here I've already got the tank. Okay, so there's no really any point on trying to win these, which is the prototype harness. There's no point trying to win that, because there's only one you got a chance of either winning the harness or money, or the tank. So really speaking, the item you do want to get rid of is harness, so you got 1 out of 3 chance of winning the harness, because you very often find you get money or the tank. So that's no good there. But let's see, if you want to, let's try something else differently. Let's have a look. If we say want to try to win that input shaft, okay. We look at chapter 3 event 6. You can see here now, we click on that one, we can win the harness or a tyre or money, okay. So you can go back there, and if we look at we can win a tyre, you see we've got an option there to win the tyre. Now that could be good, because that could give us an upgrade, so that's worth doing. Or we can say we could win the input shaft, which could even upgrade a car. So out of the possible wins you could do, at least 2 out of the 1 will be useful. Okay, well actually all three will be useful because if you get money you can always possibly buy the part, but on that case it's good to farm for that one because at least 3 out of 3 chance one of the items will be useful for you. So that's why always sort of check out first before you're farming which parts will be good to get hold of. Let's have a look at this one. The prototype intake. Okay, we've got one there. Look below. And we see we've got this available as well. So let's just have a look at the intake valve first. Okay, prototype, let's have a look at that. We could buy it, but don't want to. Look at Chapter 5, Event 5. And as you see here, we have got a chance of where we can even win that prototype flywheel. Was it correct? Prototype flywheel and money. So here, once again, you got at least at least a 3 out of 3 chance of getting something which will be useful for you. Even if it's money, I suppose you could always save it for later on. But ideally, you could do getting one of them, the valve or the flywheel, whatever it is. So it's always worth farming. Always farm the particular levels where at least you get a good 2 out of 3 chance of winning someone that you want. Ideally, none of the levels will normally give you a 3 out of 3 chance of winning something good, but the cash can always be used later on if you don't want to use cash. So you can always say, save the cash and buy the part you need if you're in a pinch. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to do some more racing. We're going to try and crack on because, to say, we want to try and get this event finished. So once again, we'll go back. What I always tend to do first is try and get up to the PR requirement wall and then start farming, because then you've got a good idea of what items you're going to have in these next 2 parts. You can normally find out on Reddit as well, where the Reddit Need for Speed No Limits, where you will give there's a complete rundown of what you can win and don't win on these, so you could plan ahead and maybe start farming beforehand you get to the PR requirements. But I always do is I always go to the PR requirements, then start farming for the parts that I need. Once again, folks, good luck on getting your getting your taxi, as I call it. They call it something else, but I call it taxi, taxi, whatever. But good luck on getting that, and I will see you for the next video. This is Brian for Touch Gameplay, signing out.